The concept of global warming being a satanic mission to undermine Jesus is a notion that has been circulating among certain religious groups. This idea is based on the belief that Satan is actively working to destabilize the world and undermine God's plan, with global warming being one of the key tools in his arsenal. Proponents of this theory argue that the devastating effects of climate change, such as rising temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events, are not simply the result of human activities, but rather a deliberate attempt by Satan to destroy God's creation and thwart Jesus' teachings. According to this perspective, Satan's goal is to create a sense of fear, anxiety, and hopelessness among humans, which would lead them away from God and towards a more secular and godless worldview. By promoting the idea that humans are responsible for the destruction of the planet, Satan is able to shift the blame away from himself and onto humanity, thereby undermining the message of redemption and salvation that Jesus brought. This, in turn, would lead to a decline in faith and a rise in secularism, which would ultimately serve Satan's purpose of separating humans from God. Furthermore, some argue that the focus on environmentalism and sustainability is, in fact, a distraction from the true spiritual battle that is taking place. By convincing people that the solution to the world's problems lies in human efforts to reduce carbon emissions and transition to renewable energy, Satan is able to divert attention away from the real issue, which is the spiritual struggle between good and evil. This diversion, according to this theory, is a clever tactic used by Satan to prevent people from seeking spiritual solutions to the world's problems, and instead, relying solely on human ingenuity and technology. Additionally, some proponents of this theory point to the fact that many of the world's leading environmental organizations and activists are often at odds with traditional Christian values. For example, some environmentalists promote population control, abortion, and other practices that are deemed morally reprehensible by many Christians. This, according to the theory, is further evidence that the environmental movement is, in fact, a satanic plot to undermine Jesus' teachings and promote a godless worldview. Another aspect of this theory is the idea that the concept of global warming is being used to promote a sense of global citizenship and unity, which would ultimately lead to a one-world government. This, according to some, is a key component of Satan's plan to establish a new world order, in which he would be the dominant force. By promoting the idea that the solution to climate change lies in global cooperation and collective action, Satan is able to manipulate people into surrendering their national sovereignty and individual freedoms, which would ultimately lead to a loss of autonomy and a rise in totalitarianism. However, it is essential to note that this theory is not supported by empirical evidence and is largely based on speculation and conjecture. While it is true that the effects of climate change are devastating and require immediate attention, it is inaccurate to attribute these effects to a satanic plot to undermine Jesus. The scientific consensus is clear: human activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation are the primary cause of global warming, and the solution lies in reducing our carbon footprint and transitioning to renewable energy sources. In conclusion, the idea that global warming is a satanic mission to undermine Jesus is a complex and multifaceted theory that has been circulating among certain religious groups. While this theory is not supported by empirical evidence, it highlights the deep-seated concerns and fears that many people have about the nature of the world and the role of spirituality in addressing its problems. Ultimately, it is crucial to approach this topic with a critical and nuanced perspective, recognizing both the spiritual and scientific dimensions of the issue, and working towards solutions that promote the well-being of both humanity and the planet.